These are 4 incredibly powerful farms you can build in your survival world, and all it takes is one village. In fact, by the end of this video, you're going to have insane amounts of food, iron, and even an infinite supply of emeralds to get all the tools and armor you need. Once you build these farms, you're basically set for the rest of the game. But here's the important part. Each one of these farms depends on the one before it, because if you want to build this farm, you'll need to build this one first. Which is why we're gonna start with this industrial baby maker. Because while this village has plenty of villagers, that might not be enough for us, since each one of these farms are gonna end up using more and more villagers to function. So because of that, once you find a village, it's important to protect the villagers by either locking them in their own homes or stuffing them into pits. Otherwise, zombies could quickly turn this thriving community into a ghost town. To build the breeder, grab 2 of those villagers and lure them onto this spacious platform. Once you throw them some food, which you can grab from the village, they will immediately start breeding, because their primary goal is to make enough baby villagers to fill each one of these beds. But the catch is that they can never fill up the beds, because we yoink them away using this very human design in order to use them for our other farms. This whole build should only take about 5 to 10 minutes to build, and it's incredibly cheap to make. Which brings us to farm number 2. This time we're gonna exploit these villagers' need to share food. These farmers are gonna work hard growing their crops, but when they decide to share it with this guy, we're gonna come in with a fence in their face to stop the transaction and yoink their hard-earned crops for ourselves. These crops are gonna be stored down below in multiple chests. Now this is where things are going to get crazy. We're gonna use the crop farm and villager breeder together to breed up 12 villagers in order to build this incredibly efficient iron farm. This iron farm might look like it doesn't contain any villagers, but that's because these fellas are trapped underground, in a room with a green friend on the other side. Since the 3 villagers are terrified of this guy, they come together and spawn in an iron golem to protect them. But because of how we built the farm, that iron golem had nowhere else to spawn other than this water funnel, where they are carried away into an ethical iron extraction chamber, where they are peacefully converted into iron. The reason we drop the iron golems 30 blocks is to take them away from the villagers as soon as possible, so they can spawn more golems faster. What makes this farm special is the fact that we utilize 3 more villager pods like this around the pit for maximum production. But you can absolutely just build 1 villager pod and add in more later on. With all 4 pods, the iron production ramps up like crazy. You can get about 1300 iron per hour. Now the farm is really simple to build. In fact, this is literally all the blocks you need for it. But there's 3 important things that if you don't get right, this farm wouldn't work. First, you need to make sure that the location you pick is relatively flat. Higher land around the farm is fine, but if it is lower, you might have to fill that. If there are caves near the farm, iron golems could spawn in them. To prevent this, just fill in the area or use buttons. Mobs cannot spawn on buttons. Finally, make sure you build the iron farm a few blocks away from any existing iron golems or beds in the village. Now you might be wondering what we're gonna be doing with all this iron. This is where we're gonna make use of this emerald farm. We're gonna ethically pull out a villager from the villager breeder, which you can very easily hook this trading hall up to. Once the villager is docked here, we'll need to lock in their trades. Step 2 is to flick this lever to peacefully convert the villager into a zombie. Then we convert it back using a weakness potion and a golden apple. The villager, being grateful for saving them, will start giving us much cheaper trades. Step 3 is to then move them to a more permanent spot in the villager trader. Now this is where we can make further use of the iron farm and the crop farm. We can set up a bunch of farmers and toolsmiths to infinitely trade our whole supply of iron and crop for emeralds. The amount of emeralds you can farm with these 2 trades alone would be enough to supply for most of your other trading needs. Congrats! You've now successfully used the villagers to exploit and manipulate the markets to get infinite amounts of emeralds, to trade stuff like books, armor and tools.